Hello, my name is Rob Garner. I'm a computer programming instructor, and today I'm going to demonstrate how to submit client data. So let's start a new project. It'll be ASP.NET Web Application, which we'll call Client Data Demo. I'm going to store it on the desktop. It'll be an empty MVC application. And we will add a home controller. And a view. And in this view, I'm just going to add an HTML action link. And we're going to go to something we're going to call submit data. So back in the home controller, I'm going to add another, well, actually, I'm going to add another controller. This will be the submit data controller, and we will have a return index. We're going to add a view for this index method as well. In this submit data controller, I'm going to add another method. I'm going to again another view. And for this one, we're going to have a form tag with the action being submit data, create menu. And the method will be post. And we'll just make a little HTML form here. And to store our information, we're going to add a model for a menu class. So this create menu will open up this HTML, we'll present this form, and after we get the post back with the post method, this will be with the get. We're going to precede this method with the HTTP post attribute. And what that will do is make it so that this action result here under create menu will be the one that's called on a post. And we're going to create attributes for all of the form elements that are done with this post. It's important to make sure that these names match what are used here for identifiers. And right now you can see that it's not identifying this. We need to make sure that we have a using directive for our models so that it can find this class. Once we instantiate this new menu using named parameters, then we'll set some info, which will equal string.format. So we'll use this format string to display the information. And this will return actually the index view as opposed to the regular view. So when we post, it'll return the index view. It's going to set view bag info. And if we look at the view, we'll see that here we are displaying that info. So that will show us what we added. And we can click on this action link to keep going around and adding data. So let's see what this does. And so here we are in this add menu item. I click on the index and it gives me that form I created in HTML. This is this form right here. And I can put in some values. And you can see that we did successfully pass this item in. So once we clicked submit, it went to our controller, our submit data controller, because that's what was specified here. Submit data, create menu. It picked this one because now it's a post event. Passed in the values that were set here in these inputs into this create menu method. We're then able to use those to instantiate a menu item and set the initial values for that menu item. That then went into view bag, and when we went, it returned the index view, which is this view, and displayed the info in view bag here. So what we've shown is we can get input from the user simply by using the normal HTML methods of creating a form and having a submit button with an action on the form. We can also use something called a model binder. And so this works fine, but let's do this. Let's go to our submit data controller, and let's go to the create menu action result, and on our post, rather than doing this, let's just say in here, rather than putting all this information, we can just specify a menu M. We don't need this code here anymore. We can delete that, because what will happen is it will actually bind the individual elements to the menu class. So these properties will take the information from this field set and associate them with the class properties. And we can use the string format, and it should work as is. We'll return the view index. We have to make sure our menu class, of course, is public. And this should work the same. So we'll manage menus, add a menu item, and we can see that it, again, this still works, but we didn't have to instantiate a menu item inside of the action result. We could just put it in as the parameter that's coming in, and it will take automatically by convention. MVC will take the property names of the class and use them to get the inputs from the HTML post method. Another thing we can do is, if we want validation, we can set our class up to allow for validation by using validation tags. And you'll notice right now it doesn't identify them. We need to add using system component data annotations. And when we do that, then we can set a requirement that the string length, for example, must be 50. We can set an annotation for price. Well, actually, we can set, let's set display name for the price, and if I hit Control dot, I need to use this system component model. If I add that using directive to my class, then I can set price as the display name and set the display format to data format string, and we'll use a currency format string so that it will always display as a currency. For the date time, we'll set the data type to data type date. And so there are a number of these attributes we can use in order to format our class items. So we'll say set the length of this string down here to a length of 10. And once we have these validation attributes set, let's go back to our submit data event, and we'll change our code so that it will say if model state dot is valid. And so what this will do is those attributes will be used to validate the input. And if it's valid, it'll set that into, we'll just, for purpose of this demo, set that into the view bag. Else, what we will do is just say viewbag.info is equal to not valid. So I'll run this again. And we'll go back to manage menus. We'll add a menu item. And if I put in some valid menu items, it should work. And we can see that that worked. I'm going to add another menu item. And let's see if we can violate some of the requirements. We submit. And we see here, because we didn't enter correct information, we get not valid. Obviously, you could set this up to have a better error message, but that shows you how we can use the validation code and how we can return items that we get from the user. Thank you very much.